This is Talking Business.
I'm joined now by Chris Ballage, who is the CEO and co-founder of a business called Provenir. G'day, Chris.
How are you?
I'm very well. Now, on this program, we get a lot of new ideas, entrepreneurs coming out with, what are often fantastic ideas. This is one of the best ideas.
Thank you. Yeah.
And this is for on-farm meat processing.
Correct.
You have a big truck.
Yes.
And inside is basically an abattoir.
Indeed, it's an abattoir. We've had to apply a lot of technology to fit a full abattoir in the back of a semi-trailer. But in essence, that's exactly the idea.
So when did you have this idea and how? What made it come about?
For myself, I'm a corporate scientist by trade. And
what is a corporate scientist?
I worked for CSL in the blood products division.
So you're a scientist and you work for a corporation.
Yeah.
You weren't in the science of corporations.
Exactly. So that was my background, but by choice I'm a farmer, and I've been selling paddock to plate meat for the last 7 years. And when the opportunity came to go into an accelerator, the one part of the...
What's an accelerator?
An incubator, so a startup incubator. So,
I see.
They accelerate ideas into actual businesses. So we went through the SproutX AgTech incubator program.
Right.
So back at that point, the one piece of the puzzle that I couldn't control was the processing. I still had to rely on static abattoirs to do the processing of my meat that I sold.
And getting your cattle picked up and taken to the...
Correct. I actually drove the truck myself, so I could see the stress that the animals went through. So that's the step that I went to control that as much as possible. And the idea has always been there to do mobile processing, and I was fortunate enough for four other individuals to join me, the founder team of Provenir, who all had their various ideas as to why they wanted to bring this to reality. And so it started 2 years ago through the AgTech startup program, and we've launched from there.
So did you raise money?
Yeah, so through the startup program, they actually give some what we call pre-seed funding. So that was $40,000 just to get the idea from, a thought bubble to something on paper. Through the program that we went, that's 6 months, that they actually take you how to put together a go-to-market document, do the financials with that. So by the end of the 6 months, we had that all ready. We went to market. We did an equity sell. So we sold 25% of the business for just over $1 million. We secured...
That's not bad. Just for a paper idea, that's great.
Exactly. It's one of those ideas, like you said, it's a bit of a no-brainer for people. People can immediately resonate with the idea and see the benefits for animal welfare and the quality of meat produced. So after we had done that, we were also successful in getting a grant through the Meat and Livestock Australia Donor Company, which is their research arm, and that was a co-funding agreement for just under $700,000. So we were able to raise quite a bit of money, and that went into building the unit itself.
Yeah, right. So you had 1.7 million or 1.5 million or something.
It was co-funding, so you sort of half the MLA funding. But it was just under.
So then you had to buy a truck?
Well, we built it from the ground up. So we had the trailer, and then it's.
No, but you had the cab and the motor and the engine and everything.
Yes.
So that, but
correct.
So you've built the whole thing from the start, right?
Yes. So the trailer, which it goes on to the prime mover, we built that from the ground up. Exactly.
And what are the key elements that are in it? I mean, and was it very challenging to create an abattoir that fits inside the back of a truck?
Simple concept, extraordinarily difficult to meet all the regulatory requirements. So as a truck has to be on national roads, it has to meet all of the national heavy vehicle road regulations. It has to internally meet all the food safety requirements for running an abattoir. We have to meet the council planning permits. So I think we hit almost...
Council planning permits?
Exactly.
But you're mobile. Which council? Exactly.
So what that actually does is we have letters of no objection from the councils, but if you operate in a business on any land, you need to get council approval. So in this, because we are mobile, exactly that. So
So have you been processing cattle?
So we're going to do that by the end of this month in May. So we're just finalising the.
So as our listeners are listening to this, you will be processing cattle in July.
Operation, absolutely. So we've been doing pre-sales through our crowdfunding campaign, which has been hugely successful, and has validated the consumer demand.
So so the farmer pays? Is that right? Who pays for the cattle to be processed, or do you take a risk on that?
We take the risk. So
you buy the cattle off the...
Yep, so it's an acquisition model. So we go to the farm. We don't just go to any farm. We have quite an onboarding...
You don't just show up and knock on the door and say, got any cattle?
Exactly. So we don't do that. The farmers that we work with are well aligned with our views around farming. So it's very much around regenerative farming and holistic management, which is about care for the land. And the farmers that we deal with, they see this as a no-brainer. It removes the cost of transportation, which is significant for a lot of farmers now that abattoirs are being more centralised, so the distances that the animals have to travel are further and further. And so we acquire the cattle at the point of processing, and then we integrate it right through to...
And how is the price of the cattle determined?
So we use a local price market, which is through the Meat and Livestock Australia. So it's just a national price that is broken down to the regions that we're operating. Happy. Yeah, so we use that pricing. It's transparent. People can see on every day what it is, and then we pay a premium on top of that as well for working with Provenir. Yeah, so
and then you you sell the meat at the other end.
Correct.
Sell the meat at the other end, making the margin in between, and hopefully the margin covers your costs and leaves something for profit.
Exactly. So we're very clear about our business model and about the transparency of the meat that we're selling, which really is the provenance of what people are buying. So the consumer demand for that is significant now.
Who are you going to sell to?
We've got an online store, so that's the best way that we can reach direct to consumers. We have a couple of retail stores that are looking at stocking it as well. Numerous high-end restaurants are very keen to put it on the menu due to the quality that they know that on-farm processing
You need
creates.
to contact my local butcher who only sells free-range meat.
Yeah.
Name's Canning's.
Yes.
You need to ring them because they'll be all over it, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm very familiar with Canning's.
Oh, yeah. Sam Canning is a good fella. So listen, what about restaurants? You're going to be selling to restaurants?
Yeah, so some of the greatest interest that we've had is from high-end restaurants, particularly those that know the meat industry and have had the opportunity of consuming on-farm processed meat, which to this point has been the realm of farmers alone because they are allowed to process on their own farm, and mobile butchers do that for them, but they're not allowed to sell the meat and they're not allowed to give that meat away either. So what we're trying to do is give that quality meat to the broader community.
Yeah. Has anyone else done this either in Australia or around the world that you're aware of?
There are no other operating in Australia. At the moment. There are a couple overseas. Probably the standout one would be in Sweden, who've been operating for 4 years. Similar design, the actual unit itself is quite different to ours. But yeah, so just the size of them. Theirs is quite large because they're actually travelling much further distances due to the topography of Sweden versus Australia. So we're a relatively round country. They're long, thin ones, so they actually have to travel further for going from each of the farms, and therefore they stay there for longer and do more numbers. So that is reflected in the design.
Right. But that one is working, is it? They're making good money?
Yeah. So, some reports are saying that they've captured up to 9% of the Swedish market with the sales that they're doing. So that's a very positive thing, and they've had a lot of support from the community, and they've really done an excellent job of connecting the farmers to the consumers. So they've got a digital provenance platform which people access through their phone, and there's chat groups. So people in Stockholm can communicate with the farmers up there and sort of say, you're doing a wonderful job, we love what you're doing, and the farmers love that as well.
And are they selling their meat online like you're proposing to do as well?
No, they go more into bricks and mortar stores is what they've done. They do a little bit into restaurant.
But not their own stores? just they're selling wholesale.
Correct, yes, into retail, bricks and mortar stores. Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So I suppose for you it's just a matter of one truck at a time, is it?
This is the first proof of concept that will show that the model does work. We're very keen to move into a Series A once we've proven and validated the
Series A round of fundraising.
Correct, yes. So we're looking to have that open up towards the end of this year.
And what sort of size do you think that'll be? I mean, because it's going to be determined to some extent by the number of mobile abattoirs you decide to build.
Correct, yeah. So we still have to work through that as a business, but high level at this stage we would be looking to have 5 as the next number of units, and we've identified a number of regions around Australia that would be perfect locations for these mobile abattoirs to work, and we've got a lot of farmer demand. Actually, there's increasing number of farmers forming collectives that as a collective model we provide a beautiful solution to that.
Well, everyone's getting bothered about it.
Yeah, and in some ways I think they should. The impact of protein manufacture globally is an issue, and we need to look at all the different ways that we can actually do that more sustainably, and this is how we are doing it from our perspective. Is we partner with. Well,
it's just better for the cattle. I mean, there's benefits. Terrible.
There's the animal welfare aspect of it, but it's broader than that as well. So it actually rolls into the environmental impact that cattle have. So if we can move them away from feedlots, which require a lot of land for the feed that actually goes into them, there's a lot of environmental externalities that occur from.
So this actually moves them away from. I didn't realise that. It moves them away from feedlots.
Yeah. So we're only going to be operating with grass-fed free-range farms, and so there is some proof to show that properly managed holistic farms actually provide a carbon sequestration process which actually pulls carbon out of the atmosphere more than like the cows before.
The cows still expel methane,
They do.
not?
They do, but through proper management of having cattle on farm, there's good proof to show that it actually has a carbon sequestration process from there.
Right.
Gets pretty technical, so
no, we won't
go into that.
Go there. We have run out of time. It's been great talking to you, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Alan.
I've been talking to Chris Ballage, who is the CEO and co-founder of Provenir.